Hey there, hope you're doing well, and welcome back to our series, our mini training series about why your productivity drops after a go live and what are the things that you can do to ready your organization to prevent it in the future. So we've done part one, we've done part two, and we've covered a whole lot of ground and some very, very good reasons that we see productivity drop. And we also identified some really good fixes that you can ensure that they don't happen again. So here in part three, we're going to discuss another reason, a very common reason, another one that I see in almost every project that we are a part of, and it's something that's neglected constantly. Something that's neglected because some people may see it not as a necessity, but what ends up happening is after go live, it gets boiled to the top quite quickly. And that is your reporting and your KPIs are not addressed. Your reporting and your KPIs are not addressed. So typically during a project, most of the time in a standard normal implementation process, very rarely does the organization talk about or the project talk about what our reporting needs. What reports do we need? What KPIs does the business need for this particular thing that we are implementing? Whether that be your entire IT system, whether that be a specific program that you're launching or a specific process that you're launching. You typically don't talk about reporting. However, reporting comes up very quickly after go live. The organization still needs to run. The organization still needs to understand how they're performing. However, one of the things that constantly happens is people don't realize or don't talk about those types of answers or those types of questions, right? Because we're so consumed in how is it going to work? What is it going to look like? What buttons do I push on the keyboard? We don't think about, hey, what information do we need to track? What report am I going to need that's going to be able to answer this question for me? And specifically, more than likely, management. Management still wants the same reports that they had before all this changed. Did you consider during your project? Can you deliver that? Can you deliver what management still expects to get? Management's still expecting the same reports, the same KPIs. They're going to track the same things. Maybe this project has introduced some new stuff, so maybe you have some of that captured. But you've got to think of, when you think of processes, when you think of what do you currently do, and you think of what do we need to do moving forward, or how do you receive material? How do you count material? How do you do a purchase order? Those things are just important as, how do I run a report that shows me everything that I received yesterday into my plan? How do I run a report that shows me how much sales came in? What is the dollar amount of product that I shipped out the door yesterday? Orders that had errors on them yesterday. Those are still business requirements. Although they're reports, although they're KPIs, they're still business requirements. You probably paid no attention during your blueprint phase, during your training phase, during your testing phase. You probably didn't even think about reports. Unless there was some custom report that you had to build because you took examples of reports that you had before and we had to custom build them. But when somebody said, oh, well, we need this report, and you say, oh, okay, that's no problem. There's already a transaction for that. Or, yeah, I know how to do that. Your consultant tells you, yeah, I know how to do that. That's okay. But if you don't incorporate it as a business requirement and you don't make it part of testing to make sure the business understands when they run the report that what they get on the output is what they're expecting, that's testing. And if you don't train them how to run it and what it means to put this selection criteria in versus this selection criteria, again, we didn't address reporting and KPIs during the project. So guess what happens? Week 2, week 3, the end of the month. What is the first thing management asks you? How do I run a report that gives me this? How do I run a report that gives me this? I have to run these reports because corporate expects me to give them this information. So I need to know how to do this. So again, we have a stall in the project and everybody's scrambling to figure out a quick way to give the business the information that they need. And in the meantime, the business is just standing back watching frantically. And again, making an impression on the program, on the system, on the process that you are implementing. It's not good rapport. It's not good rapport. It hurts the confidence of what you actually just took live, and it makes all that hard work that you just built up, it makes it feel like you did nothing. So again, here's the good news. You can do something about this. You can do something about this by just making sure that as you're going through the project, not only are you worried about business processes and how to do them, you're worried about reporting and KPIs that you must deal with in the project, that you must deal with in business once all of this changes. So when you're doing business process, when you're doing your blueprinting and doing your business process reviews and doing your workshops, include reporting and KPIs as one of your discussion points. When you're training, when you're testing, include them in their scripts for your testing. Make sure they're looking at the report. It's what they expect. When you're training, make sure you give them a document that tells them how to run the report. Again, you can do something about these things. These things are so incredibly common. I can't tell you how many projects where this happens. However, if you take a little bit of planning on the front end, do a little bit of work on the front end, this problem goes away on the back end, and it's so worth it. It's so worth it when they need to go run a report. They pull out their binder, they look at their document, and they know exactly what they need to do it. Again, confidence in the process, confidence in the system, and confidence in the program in which you just implemented. Hope this was helpful. The good news is you can plan for it. So we have one more to go through. So stay tuned. We'll be right back as we go through part 4 of why your productivity dips after a go live and what you can do about it. So stay tuned. Search for number 4. We'll be right back.